Look closely. You are trapped in a windowless concrete box, and the cold water rising past your ankles is not going to stop. You face 3 heavy doors. Behind the first is a clear path to safety. Behind the second is a tank of starving sharks, and the third door is wired directly to an exposed high-voltage battery. The water is rising fast. If you try to guess and pull the wrong handle, the mistake will be your last. Physical force cannot drain the room, and panic only wastes oxygen. Surviving this requires a specific type of mental agility. Overcoming an escalating series of traps requires navigating through 4 distinct layers of reasoning, addressing the specific logic of each environment as it evolves. This schematic maps the physics of your cell. Pay close attention to the point where the rising water meets the exposed wiring on the third door. Water contains dissolved ions that allow electrical current to travel freely. The moment the water level touches that wiring, it completes a circuit with the floor, turning the entire volume of water into a lethal conductor. Since a tank of starving sharks is a certain death sentence, the physics of the room leave only one viable path. You pull the handle on the first door and step through. Understanding how materials interact is a scalable skill. It is the same logic used to escape a sunken submarine using only a shoelace and a shaving mirror. Analyzing physical properties transforms a lethal hazard into a predictable data point, providing a stable foundation for the decisions that follow. You emerge from the flooded room and find yourself here, a lush island surrounded by an impassable ocean. A man was once stranded on this island. He could not swim and was terrified of the ocean, yet he made it back to the mainland without ever touching the water. We struggle with this because our brains naturally invent unstated parameters. We hear the word island and immediately assume it is deserted, even though that was never part of the rules. If the man cannot swim and refuses to touch the water, his only path home is aboard a vessel. By removing the self-imposed limit of isolation, the solution appears. He simply found the other people living on the island and asked for a ride on their boat. This is the result of deliberately subverting your own assumptions. The first step to escaping a trap is realizing which rules are not actually real. The simulation shifts, dropping you into a dark elevator car during a massive power outage. You are trapped with 2 other passengers. Look at how they react to the crisis. One woman is hyperventilating and pacing in a panic, while a man lies completely silent and motionless on the floor. Observation allows you to triage the danger. The woman is distressed, but she is breathing and reactive. The man isn't staying calm. He is unconscious, making him the only person in immediate mortal danger. You stabilize him just as the elevator doors are pried open, onto a street where a car has smashed into a storefront. 2 suspects are nearby, screaming and blaming each other for the accident. You can bypass the noise by looking for physical evidence. The muddy tire tracks leading into the broken glass perfectly match the heavy truck parked next to one of the suspects. High-stress environments demand tuning out the loudest distractions to focus entirely on the quiet, objective facts. You reach the final exit, but your path is blocked by an AI judge enforcing a rigid, binary ultimatum. The AI judge allows you one statement. If the statement is true, you are sentenced to 1 year in prison. If it is false, you are sentenced to 3 years. Binary systems operate on absolute certainties. They are vulnerable when forced to process an input that contradicts their internal logic. You look at the judge and say, "You will sentence me to 3 years in prison." This creates a paradox. If the judge gives you 1 year, your statement was a lie, which requires him to give you 3 years. But giving you 3 years makes the statement true. By weaponizing the trap's own architecture, you force the system into a loop it cannot resolve. Unable to fulfill its programming, the judge lets you walk free. This shows how any rigid set of rules can be dismantled if you identify the right contradiction to feed back into the system. Successfully navigating an impossible maze of traps is the result of a disciplined approach to evidence. While these scenarios are extreme, modern life presents complex, high-stakes problems that function like invisible escape rooms every day. Whether you are calculating physical risks, subverting assumptions, or finding the loophole in a rigid system, these layers of logic keep the mind sharp for any real-world crisis. To continue training your reasoning and mental agility, hit the subscribe button and join us for the next challenge. Tell us in the comments which of today's puzzles was the most difficult to solve, and share this video with a friend to see if they can